Sherpa Shop. Welcome to Sherpa's Shop. Welcome to my Sherpa Shop. Welcome to the Sherpa Shop. Today I wanted to talk about regular maintenance and how to prevent wearing out your cog, which is probably the most expensive part of your whole drivetrain system, so that you can use your cog longer by simply cleaning and maintaining that chain and maybe swapping out the chain more often. So we'll describe all that in a little more detail, but hopefully you find this useful. If you do, hit subscribe and like. Subscribe and like. Subscribe and like. Just hit something. Let me know if you like it. Make a comment. Post your questions in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Dirty my chain. Oh my gosh. Let's see what's here. I just cleaned and lubed it the other day, so and I had a couple rides on it. So this time of year, we're in the springtime, I'm using a wet lube. So the wet lube is good because it'll stay on when you hit water or mud or puddles. I mean, typically I don't ride on wet trails anyways, but it seems to, the wet lube seems to cling to the chain a little better this time of year if I do get caught in the rain or have some splash up on the drivetrain. The downside is it actually also picks up quite a bit of the dirt too. In the summer, when it's a drier terrain, I'll typically switch to a dry lube that's a little bit, I don't want to say it's wax-based, but it's less oily, so that it still lubricates, but it doesn't pick up as much of the dirt. See, I'm doing just pedaling backwards. I got my fingers pinched around it like this, and I'm just moving the chain up a little bit with my fingers and down to get all that extra stuff out. And then I'm sliding, so I'm pinching this way now, sliding back and forth to try and get all the gum and stuff out of those areas. Wipe it off here, get some of this excess off the teeth. Watch yourself here, because this is usually where you pinch your finger. I've done it enough that I'm pretty good at that now. Not pinching my finger, I should say. Just wipe off any excess stuff that's coming off of the chain. So this was a clean rag 2 seconds ago. Quick discussion on lubricants. There's many lubes on the market. But first I want to talk about this hot mess. I have this in the shop for when I have parts that are rusted together, or I need what's called a penetrant. So it penetrates into the rust, or if it's galvanized, this will penetrate in and help me loosen up a bolt. It'll help me loosen up a component that's stuck or frozen together. It doesn't lubricate. If you put it on your drivetrain at all, it exacerbates collecting dirt. So if you put WD-40 spray on your chain, you will have a filthy mess of dirt and muck, and it clogs up, and that will wear your chain down in no time. It actually does not prevent rust, so it actually breaks down the oils that are normally here and can cause rust too. So again, that's a big no-no. Do not pop this open and spray that down. So for example, when I mentioned wet lubes, I'm currently using the Muck Off wet lube. And Muck Off is kind of funny because if you get their products, they have a bunch of sprays and cleaners. They all smell good. This one's like raspberry or blueberry smell. All right, so to apply the lube, I'm just going to slowly pedal backwards. Just let a little bit of it drip out onto the chain. You don't want to do this in your living room or any place where you might ruin a floor or carpet underneath. So I've just done it for a couple of revolutions just to get it in there, worked in. So the next thing is you're going to pedal backwards for a couple, let's say for about a minute, just a bunch of revolutions to try and get that oil to penetrate back into those pulleys, into the bushings. When you're pedaling backwards like this though, this is where you'll see a lot of lube may start to fall out and spray out. That's why you don't want to put this on a good rug or anything, because all the excess dirt that I have missed will now start to shed off during this process as well. Because again, all these little rollers inside the chain, I'm trying to get the lube into there, clean it all out. But now, let's take a look. The rag's kind of clean right there. So now that I've spun it backwards, I got that chain going, I'm just going to open face, just kind of roll this here, let the chain run against it. You can see what's happening is all of this dirt here is now coming off of the chain. So I usually will, again, I'll pinch it from top to bottom. Get a clean spot on this rag, cleanish. Pinching from top to bottom. I'm pushing the chain down a little bit as I'm doing it, and I'm pulling the chain up a little bit. So what that's doing is as I pull up, it's allowing the chain to bend a little. Same thing when I push down, it's bending the chain a little bit to help those those bushings move in a different position to help move all the excess oil. You don't need the oil on the outside of the chain at all. You just need it on the inside of these little pulleys. So I will wipe it off pretty good actually, because it doesn't take much excess to cause it to become dirty again. There we go. That was a clean rag a second ago. Now I have a nice lubed up chain. So at each pin there's a roller bushing, and that's where your lubricant needs to be. That's where it's moving and flexing a lot, and that's where the lubrication needs to stay. Everything on the outside doesn't need to be there. It just keeps it from rusting, but it doesn't need much to prevent rust, actually.